Hey, Tim, thanks for joining us today. As a way of getting started, give us a little background on yourself.
Yeah, I'm speaking to you right now from just outside of Nashville in Tennessee. We just the family and I moved here just about 2 weeks ago from outside of Chicago. So, and it's coincidence. I'm running away from the Cubs when they're doing a massive sell-off
Yeah.
right now. But no, I'm joining the bandwagon and the exodus from Illinois and states like California and stuff, and heading down to Tennessee.
What,
So.
what attracted you to Tennessee? Family or no state tax?
No, just yeah, no state income tax. As a sales guy, that's always interesting. And just the weather and stuff. Got kind of sick of
Yeah.
dealing with the brutality of winter outside of Chicago. So yeah, we bought a piece of land about 25 minutes northeast of Nashville on the lake, and yeah, gonna enjoy better weather and being on the water.
Perfect. Hey, so what motivated you to get into sales?
Yeah, so um, I grew up outside of Chicago, and kind of got this like perfect blend with my parents. But I'd say probably the thing that originally drove me to it is my mom. She owned a children's theater, so it was like her mission to instill, you know, kind of building up children for success in life through theater. And so through her influence, I got to, participate in that stuff. That got me really comfortable, kind of being on stage. And I think as salespeople, right, we're on stage, right? So that was part of it. And then on my dad's side, he was an athlete. He, coached my sports teams and kind of instilled this competitive drive,
Yeah.
in me. So I think, it was that really unique combination that, kind of built the foundation for me. My first sales job. So I went to University of Iowa, and, originally I thought I wanted to be a lawyer. So I studied journalism and political science. And when I graduated, I took the LSAT and, was kind of looking down the barrel of a huge amount of loans, going into law school. And yeah, at the time I was seeing some friends who had graduated before me already doing it. And I decided to take a sales job and just take some time right before doing that. And my first sales job, I made 100 grand out of college, and I was like, well, forget this. Like
Yeah.
I'll be a sales guy. And yeah, but my first sales job before I got into enterprise software sales, I was selling um, internet to small businesses, door to door, T1 lines, and I think that there's got to be a great potential TV show on like that time period for anybody that was in that business. Is we'd literally go cold calling, through business parks,
Parts. Yep.
across outside of Chicago. And um, and we were selling T1 lines, which is like, 1.5 meg, download and upload speed at a time when, Comcast was really, and, DSL lines were becoming popular. We were asking people to spend like 10 times more money on something slower, so it's like, it was a bad business to be in. I'm
Yeah.
glad
Bad
I
model.
left. And yeah, and I went into software sales. Yeah. So.
Cool. But it built up that resilience and that.
Yeah, I was thinking actually, about 20 minutes ago, just like before I was going to get on the phone with you, is I remember the right when I got out of the training, because I attribute a lot of the foundational selling skills that I have like from that time period. But I remember the first day I got out of training, I went to this office park, right by O'Hare Airport, and I just went through knocking on doors trying to get people to sit down with me so I could sell them internet. And the first couple doors I went through, people were just like screaming at me, like, these office parks had gotten hit up by everybody selling everything. And I remember at the time I used to smoke cigarettes, and I like went down to my car and, lit up a cigarette and was like, man, I don't know if I can do this. Like is this what it's like? But I pulled it together, and I ended up never missing my quota actually in that job. And I was managing, 10 salespeople inside of 8 months doing that job. So ended up being very successful.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what do you like about software or enterprise selling?
Yeah, I mean, it's very different than that. That was a very transactional business. This is the opposite. For me, I've been lucky enough to work for two companies that sell software that aligns with like a transformational vision about like, revolutionizing the way that you run your business. And so I really enjoy, selling transformation, right? Engaging with, cross-functional leaders at senior levels, and having passion. Firstly, you have to have like passion that your wares like actually work and stuff like that. And I've worked for two companies where their product actually works. It does what we say it does, which is good. Like, you want to be selling something you believe in. But I really enjoy, working with the biggest companies in the world, being passionate about a fundamental change to how they run their business, and knowing that it's gonna, make their lives better, for them, for the employees, and for their customers, so.
And how'd you make that transformation from transactional, they either buy or they don't buy, to that kind of transformation where there's no one call where the decision's being made? You're talking to different people about different things. And a
Yeah.
lot of people don't get that. It's hard.
Well, I mean, I guess there's two things that I think about when you ask that. One is like, I started my software career kind of doing an SDR type role where I was like appointment setting and stuff, and use that to kind of build myself into an enterprise software person or salesperson. And so that helped me kind of learn the business, I guess, from the inside out. But yeah, it's the way I think about it is there's a series of battles, that you're fighting to win the war. And for people that haven't had a lot of success with like major enterprise software selling, it can be very unnerving, at all the eggs that you end up putting in a handful of baskets. I've been lucky enough to just crush it, in a lot of years. And those years when I've done the best, the amount of transactions I've closed is usually like 2, or 3, or maybe 4 transactions, right, over the course of a year. And, it's when you're winning, like, when it takes like winning 60 battles, over the course of a year or two to win a war. Yeah, it can be very frustrating, to manage that anxiety, really. So.
And how do you kind of define that, or how do you describe that ability? Because that's not only the opposite, it's the other end of the spectrum of a transaction, because you have to have the confidence that this can close and will close.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about, I don't know, for me, I think one of the things is just my philosophy around how I manage my time and stuff like that, and make decisions on where I'm going to invest, my time. Because I think as salespeople, even if you're in a transactional selling model or doing something like I do, we all start with the same amount of time each day, and so time management is everything, and so for me, it's kind of like, the things that I think about when I'm thinking about, where I'm going to invest my time is, from an account perspective, is I'm constantly qualifying, and thinking about, two things usually. What gives me the best opportunity to close like an 8 or 9 figure transaction,
Yeah.
and then so that's the first thing. That's what I'm prioritizing. And then the second thing is like, where can I get a deal right now? And maybe that initial deal is a stepping stone for this transformational vision that I'm trying to sell, right? And I don't know, for me, I think, one of my kind of shticks or my strategies, like and I was listening to one of your other podcasts, somebody was talking about this, but it's really about, trust, especially with this type of transaction that I'm aiming for, is, the way that I start going after an account and investing time is, you got to become an expert in their business, expert in their business, understand what it is that they're trying to do, and what problems they're trying to solve. And then it's my responsibility to make it very easy for them to understand, how my product or solution is going to help them solve their problems. I need to translate it into their language, and be able to be very concise and make it understandable for them and give them value. And if I do that long enough, and effectively enough, eventually that's going to lead to a sale, and that's kind of how I try to think about it.
And did it take a while to develop this judgment skill of what to work on in what order?
I think one thing that I, God's just blessed me with or something is like being able to prioritize, even when I was in the transactional world. I think it's been pretty easy for me, luckily, to be able to see the writing on the wall and place my bets in the right places, even if I was selling, 5 deals a month, it was, still a similar thing. But I think what was hard to make the transition for me was this, quantity over quality, right? And I've had a lot of conversations even this week with some people that are in an SDR role, in today's world. It's like, look, we're all dealing in a pandemic world, right? And when you're selling software like this, and everybody obsesses over kind of getting these executive, senior C-level meetings and all that stuff, and like, I want those meetings too. You want to meet with the decision maker, the buyer, as soon as possible. But I try to have empathy. I try to encourage people to have empathy with like what those people are going through right now, and the fact that there's like 500 other people like us trying to get on their calendar, right? And so if you're taking this, marketing content that's on your website and you're just regurgitating that, and setting up a sequence in outreach, and there's like 10 emails that are standard, and it looks like a robot sent it, you're not going to have success. Yeah, you're not going to have success. You have to, it's your job, to translate. You're the translator, right? And it's no disrespect to marketing folks. Our marketing content is awesome. I love it, but that is satisfying a different need, than what your job is when you're pursuing a specific account, right? And so it's your job to translate,
And do you see a lot of other reps kind of working on too many deals, not deep enough?
I do. Yeah. I think, when you're, that this is something that I've learned the hard way, like when you're, in my last job, I'd have maybe like 30 accounts on my list, right? And these are big companies, like Intel, AMD, Applied Materials, like these are large, Google, like these are big companies. To run a sales cycle and sell a transformation with like 30 of those, like that's impossible. Like you have to pick like 3 or 5, right? With the level of depth that you need to go into with these accounts, right? And so, yeah, I think that the hard thing I wish I would have learned earlier, I guess, in my career is just being honest with myself and where to put time and being realistic about, you know, there's only so much you can do, you know, in a given day, and just, you know, pick the top 3 and make bets there, you know, and be opportunistic outside of that. But like, if you had to bet, what is the one deal that if you close is going to hit your quota, you should probably be spending, you know, 50% of your time on that thing, right? So that's how I've approached it. And whenever I've done that, you know, that's when I've really crushed it, you know, from a performance perspective.
Because I see so many reps getting into the, you know, I've got to spend enough time on the other 29.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you know 3 are going to close,
Yeah.
you use that Sophies Choice brutal judgment of which 3 are you putting your money, which you are, your time is
Right.
your money on.
Yes. Right.
And if it changes, it changes.
Yeah, I think the other thing that we as sellers sometimes can forget, and I remember even in that first sales job when I'm selling door-to-door internet service, one of my bosses, I remember I was talking to these people in the back office, and it was their responsibility to, you know, set up the customer, right, and like get their stuff turned on. And I was getting really frustrated, you know, about something stupid that they were doing. My boss overheard me, and he like brought me into his office, and he goes, "Hey man, don't leave your selling shoes at the door." You know, and that really stuck with me, right? Is that, you know, we have a responsibility as salespeople to translate not just externally, but internally, right?
Yeah.
And you need to, sometimes I would say, arguably, I do a lot more selling inside the company than I do outside the company, right? To get people aligned with whatever narrative or vision I'm trying to create for this deal, right? And that's an important part of our job, you know, as sellers.
And when you're talking to an account, how do you know it's one of those 3? You must look very quickly, because some of them are too big and it's going to take 2 or 3 years. You're
Yeah.
looking for the ones that are within the scope of your comp plan or your window, whatever it is.
Yeah, I think there's a combination of things that you should be able to measure, and then there's some of it is just like gut feel, you know. So when in terms of the things that you can measure, I'll give an example from my last company. You know, we sold supply chain planning solutions, and the best prospective customers were typically discrete manufacturers, and the ones that were the most mature buyers were like high-tech companies, right? Because they had already started outsourcing their manufacturing process overseas, and they had the most complexity, and we were solving complexity, right? And so like if I had a list and I had like, you know, Applied Materials on there, and I also had Ford, right? I'm going to pick Applied Materials because, you know, the attributes that they have are more likely to be fitting into, you know, the wheelhouse of what it is that we do. So I think you need to, you know, if you're coming into a new job as a seller, like look at the case studies, right? Where have you been successful before? And I would tend to kind of over rotate into those areas. So there's things like that. It's, you know, size of the company. And again, some of my advice is like based off of how I run my business. I'm trying to hit grand slams, right? Not singles. I'm not trying to do 500 singles. I'm trying to do like 2 grand slams, right? So, you know, it's the biggest, who has the biggest revenue in my patch, right? Whoever makes the most money can afford giving me the most money, you know, that's the reality, right? So those are the things that you can measure. And then there's kind of the gut feel stuff too, right? Where it's like, you know, if I'm coming in, I'm taking over account that another salesperson has been banging their head up against the door of this account, try to find out as much as I can about why they were unsuccessful, and then gut feel like, was it the person, or is this
Is
just
it
a bad time
approach?
investment?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it approach, stuff like that.
And is your style top down, bottom up?
I'd say
All
it's both. Yeah, it's both. I mean, I think the reality is when you're selling transformations like I am, these are deals that have to be built from the ground up. I haven't won many RFPs in my day
no.
unless I wrote them,
Yeah.
right? If I'm getting brought into an RFP, chances are that somebody wrote that, right? And
Somebody
so
wrote
you're
it.
playing by somebody else's rules, right? So I usually try to ask myself three questions, like when I'm engaging, whether it's bottoms up or tops down. The first question is like, what does this person want to buy? And in today's world with the internet at our disposal, and if you're selling to big public companies, you should be able to have a good perspective going into a meeting, whether it's with a senior person or a junior person, right? Of what is it that this person wants to buy, right? So that's one question that I'm asking. And then, the other question, the next two questions is like, can we win? Can we win based on what they want to buy, based on what I have to sell them? And if we win, how much? How much do we get? Right. And those kind of three things I'm thinking about where I'm trying to, make time investments. But yeah, to answer your question, I'd say it's mostly bottoms up. You got to, build these transformational visions, get the people that are going to execute it bought in, and then be able to go to a CEO, a CFO, right? To be able to get them on board with it. Yeah.
And what lessons have you learned along the way? Because I'm sure, have you got it 6-9 months into it and it dies, or it gets delayed, or it's a false positive?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the lessons that I've learned the hard way is one thing that I try to think about is like when you're closing 2 or 3 deals, a year, it's so hard to get to the table, the negotiation table, right? At the end, the crucible of the deal. And so when you get there, my philosophy is get as much as you can in the deal and protect your upside, right? And whenever I have deviated from that thought process and been defensive about how much this should be worth, let's say, because I've worked with a Bain and I have this great ROI and business case that everybody said yes to, if I get defensive and people are being emotional, because people make emotional decisions, and I try to protect my price, like that's always led me into bad places, right? So just recognizing how hard it is, to get to the table when you're doing this major enterprise software selling, don't be greedy, just take the deal that you can get, right? And then move forward.
And
so,
and I'm sure when this type of money is being spent, they're looking at alternatives, internally, externally, whatever. How do you block out those alternatives?
Well, that's why I think why I love what I'm selling and what I sold at my last company too is it's transformation, it's vision creation, and that's why you usually have to start in maybe not the bottom but the middle layers of the organization. And so what your job is if you're selling a transformation is like what I try to do from the beginning is create a vision. The first thing I'm selling actually is a vision of a solution, right? And then and I try to define the vision of the solution to something only I can satisfy, with my product, right? Knowing
That's
that
selfish, though.
yeah, well, yeah. But if you have a product that you believe in that is differentiated, then maybe it doesn't feel so so selfish. It's just like being realistic about, you know, swimming in the right pool, you know, or something like that. But
And
yeah.
and I got to also imagine that you're running or competing against when to do it.
Yes.
You want it
Yeah.
now, they want it, or they could push it off forever. They haven't done it.
Yes.
How
Yeah.
do
I
you,
think timing, you know, with when you're selling like a transformation, like whenever possible, you want to try to align it to something that they're already trying to solve. One of my colleagues in the past life, he called it globbing on. You know, like, is there already a big, you know, are they already spending $200 million with Accenture on something? You know, can you attach yourself to that? You know, it's a lot easier to do that
infrastructure?
than, right. Yeah. It's a lot easier to do that than, you know, building something completely from scratch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know, creating an impending event, creating the reason for change, you know, the why now reason. That's a big part of what you got to be thinking about. You know, or, you know, in terms of how you invest your time in different accounts too. Because, you know, if you're spending a bunch of time, we all have quotas, you know, if you're spending a bunch of time for something that's going to close in 2 years, you know, and you're not spending time finding something that you can close in the next 3 to 6 months or this year, you know, maybe you need to rethink your time investment process. So.
And have you found it a challenge to sell your manager on deals that why you picked this one versus others, or had a manager go, well, you got 29 others?
Yeah, I think it's once you get a track record, you know,
Yeah, then
it's
it's
easier.
easy.
It's easier. But before, if you don't have that kind
Right.
of the trust and confidence of your boss, you know, then it's harder. But I would say that's part of the time management thing, and part of like not leaving your selling shoes at the door, you know, is that, you know, you got to convince people, and you have to be protective of your time, right? Even with your boss, you have to be willing to say no to a bad deal or a bad time investment, you know. And only you know, like, we're all running our own businesses, we're all entrepreneurs, right? Like, only you know. Like, and so sometimes it's like even just like your own personal passion and that gut feel, like, are you going to be excited to wake up in the morning and work on this particular thing? You know, like, do you feel in your heart, right, that you can close this thing? And if you feel like the answer is no, you know, then run for the hills. You know,
Yeah.
go do something else. So yeah.
And what's your why? What keeps you motivated, keeps you excited, gets
Yeah.
you out of bed in the morning?
Yeah. So, I mean, I went through the process, um, you know, when I remember just being in like high school and just talking with friends and trying to decide, like, you know, what do you want to be when we get older, you know, and things like that. And at that time, I just knew that I wanted to make a lot of money. That's
Yeah.
what somebody asked me that's what I would have said. And that's probably why I was thinking I wanted to be an attorney, because I thought they made a lot of money. And so that used to be a lot of my focus. And, you know, now, having been in this game for a while and having made a lot of money and built a dream house and been able to provide for my family the way that I have, a couple of years ago, I went through this process of trying to redefine my purpose. You know, what is it? You know, because I've done that now, you know, I've already done that. And I read the book Find Your Why by Simon Sinek and went through the exercises with that, to be able to find my purpose, my why. And mine is to challenge myself and others so that we're inspired to do good.
Yeah.
You know, and for me, doing good is, you know, kind of living by the golden rule. I'm a man of faith. I believe that, everything that I have has been given to me by my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, who died for me. And so, that's why I wanted to, join this this podcast too, and be able to just share lessons learned, right, in an effort to give and share, right, and challenge others so that they're inspired to do good. Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. Hey, appreciate your time today, Tim. Where can people go to connect and follow you?
Yeah, check me out on LinkedIn. You can find me there. That's really the only social media I'm really investing in these days.
Not on fans only
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah, not on fans only. But yeah, man, I love talking about deals with fellow salespeople and just sharing advice, and like, we're all in this together, man. We're all people, and if I can help any of your other listeners in any way, would love to do that. And I really enjoyed speaking with you.